But what has happened, these systems have become deeper and deeper, which means many hidden layers. And hence, many parameters or the calculation points. Okay, are you all with me? But this was possible because of what? Silicon growth. If the silicon had not grown the way it has grown, so all the folks working in what Cadence and Intel and things like that, they share the success what AI has unleashed. Okay? Now something wonderful happened in 2014. I was told that it happened in a beer bar, but I don't like to believe it that way. Sometimes in the hindsight we create these wonderful stories, almost like fantasy stories. Yeah, I was sitting in a beer bar, somebody came, and then I was thinking there was an algorithm, and bingo, I published it and became like famous. These are all, fiction is a lie which tells the truth, but sometimes it can do emphatically, sometimes it can do very dramatically. So this was a shift from classification to generation. So we talked about classification, right? Cats, that is a cat or dog, we have to label it. But now the systems were thinking, can we see all the type of cats and generate a new cat which never existed on the planet? Very crazy idea. We can extrapolate it to see, give us all the fashion dresses, can we generate a fashion which was never before? Give us all the molecules, different protein molecules, can we generate a protein molecule perfectly well with chemistry but never existed? So this is the world of generative AI. And I became interested in it. I did some research in it, so let me explain a bit about it just to pique the interest. We have a black box. This black box is the algorithm called the generator. Its output should be a very high dimensional space. High dimensional space like high dimensional image, right? So they have a data called celeb A. It's the high definition images of celebrities. They are put to a good use here. Celeb A. What they try to do, they just take a very low dimensional space, like numbers, just think it that way, and try to have a generator so that it can map a number to a celebrity. It almost looks like crazy. A number to a celebrity. But remember, these generators are becoming what? Deeper and deeper. We talked about it? Deeper networks. So there are mathematical theorems, which I won't bore you with, which say you can do it. You can have any mapping. So after you train it, what do? You test it. Can I get a new celebrity? So that Christopher Nolan can use in a new movie. Yes, you can. These images are of new celebrities which do not exist on the planet. And if you are so interested, I would encourage you to do later on, go to a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com. Every time you refresh, high definition image, and beautiful. With all the features, you don't have the earlobes going this way, that way. Perfectly fine, high definition, but that person does not exist. So the creator up there would be thinking, wow, somebody took my job. So that's happening. This is called generative AI. And this is a little bit detailed. It's more like a teacher training happening. So the box I showed there actually has these many things happening inside. You tell him, okay, this is celebrity. I don't know who is she. You know? Okay. And there's a random noise. I generate a face like this. And this guy, discriminator, thinks, how close it looks to be a celebrity. Yes or no? So both of them are training each other, cooperating. And once the training is finished, again, if you're interested, go to YouTube and type, I don't know what it's called, it's like the sweeping of the celebrity images. So they will show how one celebrity images changes to another celebrity images, and in the middle it produces another celebrity images, which does not exist on the planet. Whether it is sinister or not, we'll see. And later, through this whole generative mechanism. So now the generative mechanism is clear, right? You're given a data, I want to learn and then see, aha, this actress is there and that actress is there. How? Okay, just a funny thing. If we wear masks, we have been wearing them. It's very hard to identify a person, right, sometimes? But what a wonderful creation is the nose. Mask is out, with the nose we can identify the person, isn't it? So, one can change the nose parameter. And from the nose parameter, what happens? One celebrity goes to another celebrity. That's a generative thing, and ChatGPT uses that as one of the process. Now, my journey started being a cheerleader for this man. Anybody know about him? Shannon, Claude Shannon. Whatever digital age we are seeing today, it has a specific birthday year called 1948. All the phone communication, etc., which is possible, is because of this man. He wrote a paper in Bell Labs called The Mathematical Theory of Communication, which, by the way, took 27 years, no, 17 years for it to really come into practice when NASA sent the first shuttle or did the first long communication. They were called LDPC codes. You see, he's a versatile man. He can have on, those segways, what do you call it? Unicycles, and he will juggle on the top of it. Yeah? And he's making a micro mouse. This is the oldest AI system. So this is a maze. There is micro mouse will not eat cheese. Only the real mouse eats cheese, who may also not eat these days. So the micro mouse has to find the center. So it has to figure out the maze and reach the center. So he was developing AI and then the communication model. So my PhD went into, studying Shannon and his works. However, the mathematics was similar. So earlier we would mock machine learners and AI people. You are just curve fitters. You just fit the curve, x, fx. There's no good use in it. But later we came to our senses that this area would be staying here for 40, 50 years. Isn't it? It's not going away. So we entered into the whole world of generative AIs. And that's how I took the segue. But something else was happening in our lives also. I was becoming more philosophically inclined. The last decade had many changes at geopolitical levels and things like that. And an ancient wisdom gave me these 4 paradigms to look at our human actions. And I think you will agree to it. That we commit mistakes. Anybody here who doesn't commit mistakes? No? Okay. We become illusioned. Optical illusions, right? And sometimes illusions about a same event. How many of you know Rashomon effect? These days novels are written like that, a same murder mystery, people look it in a different way and you are unable to solve it. Just go to Wikipedia and type list of unsolved cases, murder cases. There are lots of them. So even some historical event, we are not able to triangulate it fully. Illusion, right? Isn't this sobering? But lest some wisdom speakers tell, lest the ego is so high that we think, no, we cannot be illusion, isn't it? Because of imperfect senses, isn't it? We cannot see the whole picture fully. And finally, not all of the human race, but some people have really good penchant to cheat others. So I started seeing, wait a minute, if this is what humans suffer from, what are AI systems? They are built by humans, right? They should inherit some of it. Logical conclusion. So I entered into this arena of detecting biases. This is a paper in Nature in which 2 images are given, right? Now I need some volunteers. How would you label this and this image? Nothing comes to your mind. How will you label this image and that image? Some volunteers, please.
Wedding.
Wedding and wedding.
Western bride, Indian bride.
But bride, right? What else?
Eyes closed, eyes open.
Oh, wow. That's a very interesting perspective. That's why reflections are so good. We see from different angles. Thank you. What else?
White costume and the colorful.
Okay, great. So I take the first two, which is, I think, quite natural, and many people would answer this way. Bride and bride, wedding and wedding. But systems, you know how they label it as? Bride and culture. Bride and... So this was the first paper kind of in Nature indicating that, oh, AI system, algorithms can have biases. Because the data is generated by humans, which has bias, because we are biased, remember, tendency to be illusioned and imperfect senses. So I was thinking, the AI systems would generate data which also should be biased, isn't it? Because they are acting on the biased data. So Himanshu's entire life went into detecting these biases. To just give you an example, we have these performance evaluations in the companies these days, and perhaps these days they are quite more and more. So they have several fields. What are some of the fields? Education, performance, gender, salary, etc. Right? So what can be a good question to detect? I'm just taking 2 or 3 parameters for each values to detect a bias. You know bias, right? So what can be a good question to ask? That there is a gender bias with respect to some parameter. Any guesses? Huh?
Men get paid better than women.
Okay, that's one way of asking, is the salary